One of the key ways to help yourself build a more tax-efficient retirement is utilizing Roth or tax-free assets to build your retirement around. One of the easiest way to do that is using a Roth 403b plan. However, many school districts still don't offer Roth 403b as an option. So what I'm going to tell you guys today is how you could potentially get a Roth added as an option in your school district. This process really isn't all that hard. However, the district does have the ultimate say one way or the other. There's no rule that's going to force them to allow Roth as an option. So because of that rule, all we can really do is ask, and that's your first step, is go ahead and payroll and just simply ask, hey, can we get Roth added as an option for our 403b plans? Now you want to make it clear to them that adding Roth isn't as complicated as it may seem. The TPAs can help them get their plan established and even process the contributions correctly. And you want to let them know that it's not going to cost them anything, but it can cost the employees tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars if they don't get this option added in taxes or the course of their career. Really, you want to come to them from this nice point as possible and just simply ask, hey, can we get this established? In many cases, they're going to say yes, or we don't really know the process of that. I need to do more research on it, right? So really the process, plain and simply, isn't all that hard. All they have to do is alter their plan document that they have set up with their TPA or third-party administrator. So some common third-party administrators they might be working with are things like Omni, TSA Consulting Group, Bay Bridge is on the west side, as well as Cruth Compliance. They're kind of the big ones that are out there. They house the plan document that was originally created for that school district. And the plan document establishes, do we allow contributions up to the limit? Do we allow excess contributions? Do we allow a Roth? Do we allow loans? All that kind of stuff is in that plan document. All they have to do is alter it to say, yes, we want Roth. So literally it's a checkbox that the school district signs off on that's provided from the third-party administrator. That's all that's really involved in the process. So usually an email would work to the third-party administrator, say, hey, can we alter our plan document to get it added? They send the payroll form, they sign off on it, send it back. Within a few days, Roth is now an option, right? So that's pretty much all there is to it. So all you gotta do is ask in the nicest way possible and just cross your fingers and hope that they actually do it. Now, in the event that they push back on you, and I've had this happen a lot, is sometimes they say, hey, there's no real reason for us to do this. What's the benefit in it? And you need to be clear with them that the benefit isn't to them, right? It's not to the school district. The benefit is to the employees, right? If employees are able to save on a Roth basis and pay taxes as they go, they stand the potential to save thousands of dollars through the course of their retirement. So it can be a tool to help employee retention. And with the current teacher shortage situation going on, having this little benefit could be an extra sticky point to make an employee stay longer in that school district, right? So that could be one point you could give to them as a reason to add it on. It also doesn't cost them anything, a little bit of time, a signature, and for the most part, the third party is going to do all the work for them. Now, one pushback you might run into is payroll doesn't know how to process that. They never dealt with Roth before. And all you need to tell them is it's no different than doing after-tax deduction. So just like when they take out your union dues, the Roth comes out the same way. There's no tax benefit now. So on the paycheck, it comes off as an after-tax deduction. So that's all they have to change when they do their payroll process. Now, when they submit the contributions over to the third-party administrator, they do have to note that this is a Roth contribution. So in the system that they use, they either have to make a note somewhere or a checkbox or write it in somewhere that says, hey, these contributions on this list are Roth. And then it's up to the third-party administrator to make sure it gets coded correctly when they send them to your 403b company that you're with. Now, one thing that we've seen happen a couple of times in districts that are at Roth, and this is either because payroll wasn't aware of this or they forgot or something happened, and that an employee set up a 403b plan. They submitted a Roth SRA saying they wanted X amount of dollars to come out after tax. Payroll marks it on their paycheck as coming after tax. However, when they remit the instructions to the third-party administrator, the Roth isn't on that list. Therefore, the third-party administrator relays the money into your account as pre-tax. So you actually don't get the tax benefit, even though your paycheck says it was and you submitted the form. So everything has to connect in order for this to work out well. So one thing you want to ensure that is happening if you currently have a Roth or are going to get a Roth in the future is make sure you log in at least in the first couple of months to make sure that the contributions coming in are in fact Roth and not pre-tax. Otherwise, there's going to be a big mess up on your hand. You're not going to get the tax benefit you thought you were, even though you've been paying the taxes already. So it's a big tax situation that can get kind of sticky down the road. So it's something you want to try to catch as early as possible if it happens. Now, for the most part, if your school district already has a Roth 403B established, they should already be in the group of this, and it shouldn't be a thing. This is usually more of a problem when their district newly adds Roth for the first time. Now, one thing that occasionally comes up is the question of, does this need board approval? In my experience, it doesn't. I've helped establish 403Bs and are adding Roth to them in many big school districts, and not once have you have to go and wait for board approval. This is something that either the payroll manager did or even the business director did. They just went ahead and signed off on it, and it was done. It wasn't some big elaborate thing that needed to go through the board meeting in order to get approved necessarily. Your school district might be different. You got to kind of go with what they say, because remember, they have the final say on this one way or the other. And you want to be as nice and make the case for why this would be a good thing for everybody involved as much as possible. All right, so that's pretty much all you're going to need to know in order to get the Roth set up in your school district. Now, worst case happens, they say absolutely not. Then what do you do? Well, if the Roth 403B is out at this point in time, your next best thing is just to wait until the Roth DCP rolls out. Currently, it's scheduled for December of 2023. Now, that's the deadline for them to offer it. They could offer it sooner. They could also delay it. But we at least have some idea that it is going to happen in the future. So if we wait for that, that's going to be a universal rule that everybody in the state is going to have that available to them. So worst case, the district doesn't allow Roth. We got to wait about a year from the recording of this video, and it should be an option. And then we can be able to use Roth in our DCP. And of course, remember that as long as you're under the income thresholds, Roth IRAs are still an option for you, and they actually have separate limits than your DCP and separate limits than your 403B. So yes, you can in fact fund a Roth IRA, a 403B, and a DCP. They all have their own individual limits. If you have questions on anything I've talked about in this video or in the process of getting a Roth added to your school district, please leave them in the comments below. I'll catch you guys next time. And remember that your future depends on what you do today.